Good morning, beautiful people. What's up with you guys? This is Tamer, the track enthusiast, bringing you guys another video. I know I say this all the time, but today is an extra special video because we have a new member in the family. We have Miss Ruby Tuesday. If you guys have not seen some of the previously released videos on YouTube and Instagram, I picked up my dream Camaro. I picked up the 2020 Camaro ZL1 with the 1LE package with, most importantly, with the 10-speed. That was the most important thing to me when the car was available back in 2017 and 18 when I picked up mine. The reason I did not go with the 1LE, and I know this sounds kind of cheesy, you guys, and I do love manuals, but not on a racetrack when you're going for lap times and you're trying to control a car with 650 horsepower. The most important thing to me when I purchased the car was the 10-speed. I wanted the additional, I wanted the additional speed. The 10-speed, I don't want to say it multiplies the power, but yeah, it absolutely takes the power and torque of the LT4 and it just lights it on fire. It keeps the car on boil, all right? So to me, that was more important on the track than basically just having the added, suspension at the time, especially coming from a Lexus ISF, and you're going up 235 horsepower basically, and a whole lot of torque. I felt like the ZL1 standard was more than enough for me at the time. Like I said, the 10-speed was the main thing. Now, as of February of 2019, and that's how long I've been dreaming about Miss Ruby Tuesday here, Chevrolet announced that they're going to be making the 1LE ZL1 with the 10-speed automatic. So immediately I was like, that's it, that's the one I want. That would be the ultimate combination, where you've got, again, the LT4 power, you've got the 10-speed transmission, which is just going to light the thing on fire to keep it super, super fast, and then you've got all the added track focus. Now, again, anybody who's followed the channel, or people who have not followed the channel, whether it's on Instagram again or YouTube, you guys know that I do quite a bit of track time, or at least before the COVID-19 thing hit. I was doing about probably like 7-8 track events a year. Personal kind of goal and mission is I'm trying to hit every single road course in 3 states, Arizona, Nevada, and California. So you pick up a brand new 2018 Camaro ZL1 in 2017, you start doing your tracking. Of course, coming from a Lexus ISF, it was an amazing improvement, massive jump, leap ahead basically here. But, and this is what most of the reviewers won't tell you guys basically, is as you start to really push the standard ZL1, all right, you start really doing the track days, you start moving up to the higher fluid, temperature fluids, or brake fluids in the brake lines, you start doing the track alignment, that kind of thing. I'm still running stock tires. The car handles amazingly well, but there are some deficiencies with the ZL1. I mean, the bottom line is the standard ZL1 is an extremely fast street car and a very capable track car. Whereas the 1LE is a capable street car and extremely fast track car. So essentially what you find with the standard ZL1 is that the tires and the suspension will limit you at the limit. And we're talking 10 tenths on the track, you guys, 9 tenths, 11 tenths. What you find with the car is the car starts to understeer at extreme tight kind of hairpin turns, especially a good way in. Let's say a good 5 to 7 laps in, especially in California, Arizona, Nevada, the temperatures can get a little bit higher than maybe some other parts of the country. So the tires get greasy. You find that you do want a little bit more camber in the front. So the alignment, or the track alignment that Chevy gives, will absolutely help. But you still feel like, yeah, the car's still understeering if I'm getting really, really aggressive. The car will also have a tendency to oversteer on corner exit, which made it a little bit more fun. And as a driver, basically, you kind of develop that car control. You learn how to basically control that oversteer. But still, the deficiencies were there at the limit. Now, after 16 track days, and my 16th track day in Carmela was a track event at Apex Motor Club here in Arizona. And when I did the track day, I had a great time. But literally, as I left the parking lot, I called my wife and I said, no matter what I tell you, do not let me get another ZL1 when I get the, when it comes up to get the new one here, okay? Let's put it that way. So, this is funny, it's like kind of like the werewolf guys back in the day. He's like, whatever I say, don't let me out. right? Don't let me out. So I swore to the wife, no matter what I told you or tell you, no matter how comfortable I tell you that the standard one is over the 1LE and blah, 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 and I start making excuses, don't let me get it, because at my last track event, and I was driving very aggressively, I was kind of battling a 600 LT McLaren, I found that, yeah, the car was starting to understeer in certain places, and it was starting to oversteer. It was kind of annoying. So I felt like at that point, and I'm not, you know, pumping myself up, you guys, or trying to brag or anything like that, but at that point I felt like, you know what, I think I've pushed this thing to the point where, like, I need a little bit more. And that's how I felt with the previous car before I got my ZL1, the ISF. I felt like I'd kind of driven the thing to the point where I can handle it at the limit and kind of push it over. So it doesn't give you that confidence. So I jumped to the 1LE. Now, what makes the ZL1-1LE so special? All right, and the main point of this video is also to indicate to you guys what makes it different from the standard ZL1, like an everyday kind of situation. Now, the first thing people are going to want to know is what's up with the suspension, right? Is it as firm as they say it is? Is it super harsh? Is it not designed to be daily driven? Yes, the car is firm, but harsh? No. In fact, one of the reasons I'm shooting the video the way it is, you guys, where I've got it just a kind of a regular, what we call a Ram X mount on the windshield. It's kind of thing you would hold any kind of cheesy cell phone. I'm shooting it so you guys can see any bounciness or whatever, you know, in the video. And I am kind of on we'll call it the bouncier section of my commute, basically here. So yes, the suspension is firm. Now, it's not harsh. And when I compare it to the ZL1, and you compare that to the 1LE suspension, the Multimatic versus the magnetic ride suspension, I actually find that in certain situations, including this section of the freeway, that the ZL1 felt bouncier, whereas this, you feel like it transmits the road imperfection a little bit more, but it's not bouncy. It's strange. One way to describe it, and I kind of described it this way to my wife, is if I look at my radar detector on the windshield, and I know I need to get it mounted on the rear view mirror, but I remember when I had the ZL1, when I'd be driving to work with Carmela, the radar detector was constantly bouncing, and it was just something I couldn't really control. You put it in track, you put it in sport, you put it in tour, it's always just bouncing like crazy, and you just kind of get used to it. The weird thing is, as firm as Ruby is, or the 1LE is, the radar detector is not bouncing at all. So it tells me that the damping is better, but I just feel like, yeah, the spring rates are higher. I mean, for God's sakes, you guys, the spring rates are 3 times higher than the standard ZL1. The ride height, from what I've read, and some of the super detailed engineering kind of stuff on this car, the 1LE is actually 19 millimeters lower in the front and 16 millimeters lower in the rear, and that was to compensate for the slightly smaller wheels and tires, basically. So between the higher spring rates, the Multimatic, you know, shocks, the lower ride height, I feel like, yeah, I mean, the car feels like the ZL1 in track mode, but track plus, or, you know, we'll call it an R mode, basically, like a higher 20%, 25% stiffer than the standard ZL1. So I feel like, no, it's not a deal breaker. If anything, it makes the car, to me, it feels more alive, it feels more connected. And most importantly, you guys, I would say the most obvious thing when I first started driving the car, after literally just dropping off Carmela, as soon as you turn the wheel, the car feels shorter and it feels lighter. And it's not just in how it handles. Even when you accelerate off the line with the car, it feels more alive. It feels more like sprightly, like the car wants to take off a little bit quicker. Now, I'm not sure if that's just because it's got the larger footprint in the rear. We are in Arizona, full disclosure, guys, Arizona, and we're in the summer, and I'm not joking, guys, every single day it's 118 to 123 here. So these R comps that don't do very well, that everybody complains about, are absolutely magical in Arizona. In fact, to the point where I'm almost considering dailying with them all the time, okay? So the car feels quicker off the line, it feels lighter, and it feels shorter when you turn. Now, remember, you've got the spherical bearings, Multimatic suspension, spherical bearings in the front. You've got the rear cradle, the suspension, the rear cradle, excuse me, is bolted directly to the body of the car, the frame of the car, excuse me, using aluminum pucks. You don't have the rubber mounts that provide kind of, you know, compliance and deflection for ride quality. And I feel like when you get rid of that compliance and you get rid of some of that deflection, I mean, the car feels like it handles much better. It's kind of a cliche, but yeah, I mean, the term, you know, a cat on carpet, it's insane when the car changes directions. Now, in terms of power, again, it's the same goddamn car. There's no difference in the power. In fact, I feel almost, I don't want to say mid power, I want to say like right after takeoff, you almost feel like Carmella, the 1LE, was just slightly quicker. And then as you get off, let's say third gear and up, I feel like they feel identical basically. So I'm not sure what that is, or if it's just basically I'm trying to, you know, feel them out while it's 122 degrees. I'm sure the ECU is pulling some of the timing as well here, you guys. But bottom line is, I mean, effectively they feel equally quick. All right. When I first started tracking the ZL1 back in the day, I would tell people regularly, and even some of the dismay of some of the other ZL1 owners. But the last thing this car needs is more power. All right. And I know it sounds kind of weak and whatever. I don't really care what anybody says. If you're a driver, you know there's a certain level of balance, right? So you don't want more, you know, power unless you've got more brake and more grip and more control. So what I found after all the tracking, like I said, is that I wanted more power. Excuse me, I didn't need more power. I wanted more grip and more control on the track, and that's exactly what the 1LE provided. So the main thing that I feel in the car is the car feels lighter. It feels more alive. It feels like it communicates better. You do feel the imperfections in the road. But now I do want to dispel some of the myths. I gotta call some of these guys out, man. You know who they are, all right? The Motor Trend guys, you know, some of the popular review sites. I'm not gonna call them out by name right now, basically here, but you know who they are, and they're sitting there going, "Oh God, you know, the car's so harsh, and oh, I couldn't drive this every day, and it was in my back and my kidneys, and I'm urinating blood and all this other shit." It's so overhyped, and it's hyped for effect. All right, the car is still a street car, man. It's not a real race car. So give me a break, you guys. It's daily drivable, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I intend to daily drive this thing just like I did with Carmella. It'll be, you know, 16,000 miles a year. And already in the first, I don't know, I've had the car, 20 days? We've already done 1,100 miles. So drive it, all right? The important thing, and as I always tell my own patients basically here, is the important thing that people need to realize is that humans adapt. You get used to what you have, you know what I'm saying? Now, if you've had a ZL1 before, the 1LE is absolutely appropriate. If you've had a lowered car before at any point in your life and enjoyed that feel, the ZL1 1LE is totally gonna make you happy. If you don't track, meaning you're buying this car because you walked in and you're like, holy shit, that thing's insane, I gotta have it. You know, or you're high end. You know, you order cars and you order them the way you want them and you get them fully loaded and that kind of thing. You might not like it. Or, you know, if you're coming from a luxury car. Another example is that back in the day, you guys, believe it or not, I was a big Lexus guy, and I used to drive a Lexus LS460 on 22-inch wheels, okay? And at the time, I was lucky enough to get to test drive a GTR, and when I test drove the GTR, I was alarmed at how firm the car was. Not just how firm, how noisy everything was, how the tires were picking up rocks and all this other stuff and just kind of kicking it up into the fender wells. So I wasn't really prepared, you know what I mean? It was a pretty big stretch for me. Whereas from the ZL1 to this, it's nothing, you guys, seriously. It's like I said, maybe 20% firmer. Now, the Focus is what I wanted, especially as a person who tracks a lot. What I wanted was a car that was going to give me more confidence, you know, cut some of the lap times down on those few tracks that I do get a little bit more aggressive or competitive at, like Auto Club. And also, too, you know, as tempting as it might have been maybe initially to get another ZL1, you know, I did like the comfort of the ZL1, and you do have the Tour mode, which is really nice, where it literally bounces, it floats in the back. It's wild, actually. I wanted the ZL1 1LE because, I mean, if you already got one, you go get the same one. I mean, you know, I'm already effectively buying the same car. You don't want to buy the exact same car. So a part of it too was just kind of just to change it up a little bit. I've got the track focus. You've got the rarity, which is kind of cool. And then you got the wow factor. I mean, the car, it looks insane. I mean, it looks insane when you walk up on it. I will admit, in my objective opinion, you guys, I think the ZL1, the non-1LE, is a classier looking car. I think this thing just looks more like a race car. It looks insane when you walk up on it. Actually, Yesterday I had a really cool gentleman, or nice experience at a Chevron near my office, where the dude came up and offered to pay for my gas because I was a frontline worker or a doctor, and I thought that was really, really cool. But it was funny. First thing he said when he walked up, he's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "This is a really nice car." He's like, "Did you do this?" And I'm like, "No, dude, this thing is totally stock." So, I mean, I thought Carmelo used to break necks. Jeez, man, this thing is, it will, I mean, it turns them all the way around. I mean, you've got people rolling up on you on the left and right, they're giving you thumbs up and, you know, screaming and honking and that kind of thing. It makes it fun, basically, here. But what I'm really looking forward to is just getting to enjoy the Multimatic suspension on the track. You've got the canards, which is going to add more downforce in the front. Again, understeer, right? You've got the wider tires, R-comp tires, so you're going to 305, 325s instead of the standard 285 and 305 in the rear. You're going to an R-comp tire as opposed to an extreme performance tire, so you've moved up a level. So far in my experience, yes, one of the wild things is, yes, these tires, at least in Arizona at 122 degrees, yes, they pick up everything, okay? It's kind of funny, you just park the car, you kind of look into the fender. I mean, yeah, there's always like rocks and shit stuck to it. I did have one point where I had a little tiny piece of metal that kind of just went like sideways. It was embedded, but it was kind of nuts. Like, you literally have to dig it out. Like, the tire tread blocks swallow the rocks or little particles in. It's kind of nuts. But so far, you know, so good. Basically, knock on wood, right? So the other main thing that's going to separate this car from the ZL1 is the Multimatic suspension, the DSSV Multimatic shocks, right? So what makes that so special, other than just the way it's set up, and it's set up for extremely high performance driving, is the Multimatic, you know, company. I mean, they make 40 to 43% of the suspensions on all the cars at Le Mans are Multimatic. So I mean, this is some pretty high-end stuff. The cars that carry this kind of suspension are going to be the AMG GTR, the Ford GT, of course the ZL1, the Aston Martin 177. There was only 77 made of those. 7.3 liter 12-cylinder engine, if you can even imagine. So again, Chevy's coming with the real deal stuff. Now, magnetic ride is absolutely real deal, and I feel like for those who don't track, I would absolutely recommend that, just to you have kind of that broad spectrum, you know, of adjustability. It's kind of cool to have that range of adjustability. But for me, as somebody who does a little bit more of the high performance driving, and I've had a ZL1 now for a little over 3 years, this is perfect for me. It doesn't bother me. As you guys can hear, I mean, there is some road noise here and there, but again, we're on R comps. The car is totally stock. And you do have to remember too, one of the things that they did, this is another thing I like about the car, is that they did use thinner glass in the rear. It's thinner by 1.2 millimeters, so it does kind of transmit a little bit more sound. So yeah, I mean, overall, yes, the NVH numbers or the noise, vibration, harshness numbers will be a little bit higher, but it's not a deal breaker, you guys. And between, like I said, the added grip, the extra confidence, the way it looks, it's just going to put a smile on your face. I cannot believe the way this thing turns. It changes directions. It's insane. It's insane, you guys. Seriously. It's exactly what this car needed as I kind of developed with the ZL1. I just kept saying, God, I wish it just had a little bit more grip. Just a little bit more grip. And holy shit, man, they gave it a lot more grip. And it's flatter than hell. I thought Carmelo was flat in the corners. You look at the hood. When I'm coming off an on-ramp, it's one of these, like, you know, semi-circular, kind of super aggressive off-ramps, excuse me. There is no roll in the hood. It's insane. It's confidence inspiring, basically. So overall, you guys, I just wanted to kind of come out and just kind of dispel some of the myths about the ZL1-1LE and just tell people out there, yes, you can daily drive this. Arizona does have, you know, relatively smooth roads, but they're not perfect. I've already done multiple photo shoots with this car, and I took her to downtown Phoenix, and we're going through the hood, you know what I mean? The roads are all, you know, screwed up. I'm going over train tracks. There's no rattling in the car. There's nothing like that. You almost feel like the suspension handles the shocks, or the shock and the transmission of the kind of vibration from the road into the car a little bit better, but it allows more noise in. Now the remedy for that, you guys, super easy. You just turn up your radio, man. I don't know many people, I mean, other than the guy who's maybe shooting a YouTube video while he's driving, who drive around especially in a car that's this fun, and you drive around with your radio off. Turn the radio on, man. That's all you do. And then it feels like a normal ZL1. I honestly don't feel much of a difference at all. In fact, sometimes you almost forget that you're driving the 1LE after 3 years of the standard one, basically. It's kind of when you get out and you look at it and you're like, whoa. So again, you guys, the car is absolutely, it's attainable. Dealers are making deals on them. I think they've got a bad rep that they don't sell very well, or they sit on lots for a long time. And again, I'm not saying the car is for everybody, but if you live in a drier climate, let's put it that way, or you're willing to make some of the very mild compromise, this is the one to have, man. This is the one to have, especially if you can, in my opinion, if you can get it with the 10-speed. I think the 6-speed would be a lot of fun. But manuals, I don't know, man. I feel like, I mean, as a guy who grew up with JDM cars, I mean, you wanted the manual because you needed to wring those little torqueless cars out, you know what I mean? To have some fun with them. This car, goddamn, man, it makes the maximum torque at 3,600. I don't know if you really need to wring it out, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, it would be fun to shift the gears, but I feel like the paddles are you know, almost as engaging. It's fun, especially on the track, man. You kind of pop that thing a couple gears and you slide, you know, that kind of thing. Makes it a lot of fun. Anyways, you guys, like I said, I just wanted to dispel some of the myths about the ZL1-1LE, let you guys know it's a great car. I've had it now for almost a month and I absolutely love it. It is not something that you can't deal with. Take a test drive. I think dealers are getting a little bit nicer about the test drives. You should absolutely go out and take a test drive, see what you guys think. It's worth it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want to follow on Instagram, you can follow at The Track Enthusiast. You guys take care. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.